Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for our postponed round one fixture between the Vodacom Bulls and the DHL Stormers. The Vodacom Bulls side that will take on the DHL Stormers is as follows. At number 1, Jan-Hendrik Wessels. At number 2, Johan Grobler. At number 3, Wilco Louw. At number 4, Kobus Visse. At number 5, JF van Heerden. At number 6, Marcel Coetzee, who will be captain. At number 7, Reinhard Ludwig. At number 8, Cameron Hanekom. At number 9, Ambrose Papier. At 10, Willie Leroux. At 11, Sergio Peterson. At 12, Harold Foster. At 13, David Creel. At 14, Kenan Moody. And fullback is Devon Williams. The impact squad sees Aka van der Merwe, Gerard Steenekamp, Francois Klopper, Ruan Vermaak, Nizam Kar, Zak Beggar, Buddha Chamberlain, and Sebastian de Klerk. That is Aka van der Merwe, Gerard Steenekamp, Francois Klopper, Ruan Vermaak, Nizam Kar, Zak Beggar, Buddha Chamberlain, Sebastian de Klerk in the impact squad. And just to run through the team again, for those of you who have joined after, you get Jan-Hendrik Wessels, Johan Grobler, Wilco Louw, Kobus Visse, JF van Heerden, Marcel Coetzee, Reinhard Ludwig, Cameron Hanekom, Ambrose Papier, Willie Leroux, Sergio Peterson, Harold Foster, David Creel, Kenan Moody, and Devon Williams. Okay, can we please move in this fashion? We will start with Carl Fabian. From Carl Fabian, we will go to Simon Boschert. From Simon, we will go to Morgan Pick and pick it up from there. Thank you.
Jake, a few changes you made?
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be like that for the next couple of weeks, Cole. I don't think we're going to be in the fortunate position of playing the same guys in a derby game. I think the derby games are so tough. They obviously there's a hell of an attrition rate that comes with the derby games, and I'm going to be changing it around quite a lot in the next couple of weeks as well. So there's no meaning there other than the fact that we need to put a team on the field that can get the result.
I've just been on the N1 highway, and there's a lot of Toyota Hiluxes with some blue attachments driving down on the N1. The excitement must be quite big there in Cape Town, and how do you guys handle it?
Well, I heard that it's about 51,000, 52,000 people already bought their tickets. That's fantastic, Cole. It's like a test match. And, the more these players, and I'm specifically talking about the Bulls players, the more they get used to playing in front of big crowds, the more they get used to playing in big games, the better it's going to be for us going forward. So, I mean, if that is, I'm hoping that it's going to be jam-packed, which obviously it's going to be, that the atmosphere will be fantastic, and I hope, therefore, we can bring our best game to the occasion as well.
Appreciate it, sir, and good luck.
Thank you.
Simon.
Hey, Jake, how's it?
Good, thanks, Simon.
Good. The question I have is about Kurtley Arendse. There were a few reports that he might not come home in time for the URC playoffs. Have the Bulls got any clarity on his current situation?
No, Simon, I don't think so. I mean, it is one of the risks you have when you give a guy a sabbatical, because you don't know how deep in the competition that team that he goes to plays in. And also, if they don't go into the playoffs, they sometimes have to go into relegation playoffs. So,
yeah,
I think what you quite rightly said is that there is a chance that he could either be in a situation where he needs to stay there and play more games that was anticipated, because of the fact that we planned on the basis that he would be back before the playoffs. And if it means that he's in the playoffs or he doesn't, I mean, to be fair, we didn't think that his club would get to the playoffs, but obviously as it stands now, they near the bottom of the log, and they could end up playing relegation, which means that he would have to stay there anyway. Okay. And that isn't ideal, because that obviously takes him out of our back end of our competition. But that is one of the things that we can't control. If you give a player sabbatical, and that's the way you keep him in South Africa, then you have to make you have to adapt to the situation. And so I hope I'm answering your question. I mean, at this point in time, I don't know, but it looks highly likely that his team's not going to be in the playoffs, but looks like they could quite possibly be in a relegation playoff, which would then take him out of getting back in time, because the rules are quite simple. There's a cutoff date, and if you're not into the country by that cutoff date, then you can't play in the playoffs. So at this point in time, we're not banking on the fact that he'll be back in time.
Okay, great. Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lunga. Hi, Jake. Jake, the North-South Derby sold out tomorrow in Cape Town. Is it pleasing for you guys as the Bulls of the visiting team that the supporters and rugby lovers have showed this game that's always got a huge magnitude, so much respect that it's sold out just to add to the occasion?
Yeah, Morgan, I've said it. You weren't on the media conference beginning of the week or last week. I say it as the Bulls coach. It makes me very happy. You know, when I was a teacher for a long time, and the Derby games of the school I was at, I always used to say to the boys, as long as the Derby game that we have historically is the strongest one, and we give it the credit it deserves, then we're doing our jobs. And you know, Northern Transvaal, Western Province, in the old days, and Stormers, Bulls as they are now, is obviously a big game on the calendar. And when you hear they sold out and people are coming to the stadium, then I believe that both unions are doing their jobs. You know, it would be a sad day if the Bulls were playing the Stormers anywhere and there weren't people coming to watch the game. It would mean that we weren't doing justice to the history that's before us. So, yeah, I mean, I suppose you guys know me well enough to know, but the Karel du Plessis and the Fafa Knutzes and the Naaspoorters and the Tian Stoffbergs and all those sort of names that come off the tongue when you talk about Northern Transvaal and Western Province, the Frick du Preez and the, you know, it means that it's an important game. And I just, as I said to you, the one wish I have for the Bulls is that we play with the same amount of, the same amount of reward to the fixture as we're getting from the supporters.
Thanks, Jake. All the best tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Just confirmation, as at 1:30, there is only 900 odd tickets that are left before the game is sold out. Can we then take Simnigiwe, Brandon Nell, and Nicholas Sal? Thank you.
How's it, Jake?
How are you, Sim?
I'm very good, thanks. Sorry, I missed the beginning of the meeting, so I might ask something that's been asked already. Has Vili been named at 10 in the end?
Yeah, he has, Sim. Yep.
So
It's an interesting point, Sim, because I got a message now while Lunga's on the phone. I got a message from a journalist saying team announcement story doesn't have the team in it. Lunga, if you can just please just check, because there's a team announcement, something about White Picks youth and experience, but doesn't have the team at the back end of the. So if you can please get that sorted, Lunga.
Jake, just to ask you a question. Obviously, you could have gone with two other fly-halves, that sort of traditional fly-halves. Why Vili instead, and how does that sort of reshuffle the decks in terms of who's kicking and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I suppose I could go with those other two fly-halves, but I mean, he's got 98 tests. And let's not forget he was a fly-half. You know, I mean, I know he's played lots of tests for fullback, but I mean, I remember him playing for Boerland at fly-half.
Yeah.
And so he's very adept at going to 10 anyway. And in fact, most of his good games at 15 is when he pushes the 10 out of the way in Test match rugby or Bulls rugby and plays 10 for most of the fixture anyway. So, you know, I'm very comfortable that he'll understand what we want to do. He's got a very good feeling for the way we want to play tomorrow. And, you know, I can always go back to Butter coming on at 10 and moving him back to fullback in the back end of the game if I feel that that's what's needed. So, you know, there's no, as I said, I rate him highly enough. We need his voice there. I think without Ruan as a captain, without Ulrich there, to have him closer to the team as opposed to fullback is probably also a bit of a blessing in disguise, because he's very vocal, as you all know, and he's very good at delegating, and he's very good at coaching from behind. maybe without the leadership. And I'm not saying anything away from Marcel and Grobis and Nizam and those guys who've been captains, but maybe having his voice a bit closer in the middle of the team between the forwards and the backs is also something that I think will be good for us tomorrow.
Jake, I know you guys like to focus on the game that you're playing this weekend and nothing else, but I just wanted to ask, where do you feel the Bulls are as a team? Obviously, you've had this little moment where you went through losing 3 out of 4 in the Champions Cup, and now you've lost two of your two main captains. Obviously, looking at the URC table, you're on top of the table, could theoretically afford to lose tomorrow's game because you've got a game in hand. Where do you feel as a team that you guys are, especially as a team that's obviously trying to make the final again and hopefully get over the line this time?
Yeah, it's interesting you asked that, because I spend a lot of time listening to other coaches like Pep Guardiola at Manchester City, and obviously Slot's come in now and he's taken over from Jurgen Klopp, and there's a lot said about the fact that Liverpool have continued to be a force. And I look at Warren Gatland taking over Wales, and the reason I do that is I want to see where teams go or what teams do in different situations. And we've played 2 finals out of 3 years. We've never finished top of the log. And in fact, the interesting thing about this competition, Sim, is the team that's finished top has never ever won the competition since we've been part of it. So the premium of saying you need to win every game and you need to get a home semi and a home final and is actually not true. I mean, obviously it's always nice, but in this competition, as it's turned out now in 3 years, the team that finished top never went on to win the competition. So I'm fully aware of the fact that there are positives to finishing on top, and I'm fully aware of the fact that you want to host finals. But sometimes you can host a final by not finishing top, as we did last year, and sometimes you can end up not winning the final if you host it, as the Stormers and the Bulls proved in the last 2 years. So where we are as a team is we need to chip away for the rest of the season, and find a way in which we can get as many points as possible so that we get to the playoff stages. Then we got to make sure that we are as prepared as well as we can physically, mentally, and skills-wise to actually play our best rugby in the last 3 weeks. And that goes the same for the Champions Cup. I know you speak about 3 out of 4 games that we lost, but I can tell you that the Champions Cup, and that's another debate for another day, but that's a completely different competition. We're talking about 23 internationals versus club sides that are put together by players that are still coming through the ranks. And that obviously will always have its challenges. But at this point in time, where the Bulls are is we've never not made the playoffs of any competition we've played since we've been together. We've always been in the knockout stages of every competition that we've played in. And we're in a good place. I mean, we have our destiny in our own hands when it comes to the URC, because if we continue to grow, we will be in the playoffs, and we are already in the playoffs and the knockout stages of the Challenge Cup, which is a European competition. So I'm not, as I said, I don't look at the glass half empty. I look at the glass half full. We're in a very good place. And albeit that we've lost 1 or 2 of our stars, I looked at a team that we've got. We got no Kurtley Arendse, no Marco van Staden, no Ulrich Low, no Johan Goosen, no Ruan Nokia. But, I'm very confident, even without those 5 players, that we have got a good enough team to actually carry on playing well and keep winning games. So, and as long as that's the case, then I think we're in a good place. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Afternoon, Jake. Glad you guys are safe in Cape Town. Just wanted maybe a word on Jan Hendrik and what you're expecting from him. Good test for him this weekend.
Massive test. I mean, he's scrimming against France Malherbe. But Brendan, when I made that selection, I think people sometimes they lift their eyebrows. But he's played a test match against Australia with Grobis at hooker. So the 2 of them have played in international rugby together. He's played 2 test matches with Grobis. And so I'm fully confident. I think he's grown as a player. He's too good a player. I've said it many times. He's too good a player to leave in the stands. 2 hookers are playing really well. And he has played lots and lots of prop anyway. So, it's a massive challenge for him, and it's a massive opportunity for him as well. So, I'm fully confident, and then the bench, like Gerard Steenkamp, who's played Test rugby, Nazam's played Test rugby, Akker's played Test rugby, so it means that we can finish with 3 Springboks off the bench. And as I said, one thing I did but one thing that I did see and obviously was happy about in the Lions game is when we finished with a strong bench and with some senior heads around the players at the back end of the game, it gave us great value.
Also, Jake, Kanan's 50th, maybe just a word on that. At only 22, that's quite impressive to get 50 caps by the 22nd birthday.
Yeah, and Brendan, I mean, it's quite an ironic thing. He started his first game for us in Cape Town as well. So, not that you always package it like that, and not always like you construct it like that, but it's fantastic to think that his family come from down here. He got his first game here, and we won that game, I think. So to get his 50th game in front of his family, all his loved ones close to him. I mean, we didn't, as I said, we didn't construct it like that or manage it like that. It's just turned out like that. So hopefully the omen is he'll get another win on his 50th game as well.
Cheers, Jake. Thanks.
Thanks, Brent.
Good afternoon, Jake. You did speak earlier about Willie, how you back him at 10. Just on the other side, Stormers are missing Mani Lubbock, and they brought in Judy. What kind of dynamic do you think, or do the dynamics change in the game without Mani Lubbock there?
Definitely change. I mean, you're talking about a Springbok who's won a World Cup, and Mani's never played badly against the Bulls. He's played every time we've played them. So much has been said about his playing, and he's always stepped up to the plate and played well against the Bulls. So, but I've always said as well that, Nicholas, the opportunities come when the door opens. And we know one of the most famous stories I share with the players is I was with Nick Mallet in France, and Justin Swart went to the captain's practice, and Monty went shopping. And Justin Swart pulled his hamstring, and Monty came back from shopping with all the shopping bags and got told he's playing against France. And 100 tests later and a World Cup medal just shows what can happen in one Friday afternoon when you're out shopping in Paris. So I'm not going to say that I know how important Mani is. I know how well he plays. I know how well he plays with Gallant, and I know how well he plays with Damien and all that sort of thing. So. But, opportunity knocks for any player. And if you think that, because one's out, things are going to be different, that it usually comes back to bite you. So I remember Yuri Matia playing really well against Leicester Tigers a year and a half ago, 2 years ago anyway. And so I'm sure he'll want to take this opportunity and play as well as he can as well.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Goedemiddag, Jake. Percival Young hier, meneer. Ik ben altijd eerstens verskoning. Yes, sir.
Percy, there is an order. Thank you.
Sorry.
Can we please take Kovas Klassen, Ashfaq? Thank you.
Thanks, Lunga. I'm actually good, so I'm going to give my chance to the next guy. Thanks.
Thank you, Kovas.
Hi, Lunga. So Ashfaq here. Hi, Jake. Hope you're well.
Hello, Ashfaq. I think we've got to change something, Ashfaq. Usually when you ask me the first question on press conferences, we usually get to the final. So, Lunga, from now on, please,
you must have a word with Lunga.
Please,
must have a word with Lunga.
Let's change that.
It's a beautiful hot day that's greeted you guys. I know the flight was delayed, but the guys must really be excited this time because, as you mentioned previously, that you're now quite high up on the log, and the Stormers are battling a bit. We know they always get up for the Bulls, but do you feel that maybe the dynamics are a bit different this time around facing them in Cape Town?
Ashfaq, I can walk into a trap here, and it's hot here, but I can tell you it gets hot in Pretoria too. I mean, you must come up there; it gets hot there as well. So, firstly, it's no different to what we used to there, and I am looking forward to this game. Yes, there is a completely different dynamic. I mean, whatever way you look at it, it's where we are on the log and where the Stormers are on the log hasn't been like this for a long, long time. I mean, generally the last 3 years, Stormers have either been above us or very close to us on the log. So the dynamic is different. And obviously without players out, with players out in both sides, people can always speak about injuries they have. But if I tell you, Kurtley Arendse, Marco van Staden, Ruan Nokia, who did I say the other guys are not available this week? Johan Goosen. We got 5 Springboks out as well. So if you look at it like that, you can find an excuse and say the dynamic of our team is different as well. So I would just say, Ashfaq, I mean, playing in Cape Town is very difficult. I mean, I remember when the Sale Sharks came here a couple of weeks ago, played almost the same time, 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. I mean, a lot of people didn't expect Sale Sharks to lose by 40 points to 0. So it would be very naive of us and very short-sighted of us to come here and say, you know what, things are different. They're at the bottom of the log. We're at the top of the log. We should win this game. And I'm not going to get sucked into that. It's always tough to win, yeah. We've had the worst record against the Stormers here for out of all the franchises. And it's important for us to make sure that we play well tomorrow. That's basically, I think if we play well tomorrow, then I'll be more happy, because I realize that if we play well tomorrow, we'll win.
You see, it's difficult to beat the Stormers in Cape Town. What is it that makes him so difficult? Because, even with the injuries, they've got a lot of injuries as well. They just seem to really get up for you guys, no matter what team they push into the field.
Yeah, but that you've just answered it, because whatever team the Bulls bring, they get up for it. And there's 2 ways of looking at it. Is that you can respect the fact that they do that, but also it's a great honor for us as a club. If it means that we come here and teams have to take a step up and they want to beat us badly, then we're in a position where we want to be, Ashfaq. As a coach of a big union like the Bulls, when you tell me things like that, it makes me really happy. Because what it tells me is that you take us seriously and you see us as a massive game, and you see wins against us as great accomplishments. And long as that lasts, then I know I'm doing the right job. The day that you guys expect to beat us, the days you take it as another game that you've just beaten us, well then I know that I'm in the wrong club. So I hope that fixture stays like that forever. I want teams that when they play the Bulls must expect that if they don't play well enough, they will get beaten. And if they play really well, they could still get beaten. And that is, that's why I'm in coaching. It's the 53,000 people tomorrow. I can't wait to get there, Ashfaq. I can't wait it's almost like test rugby. It's why we coach, I've been out of test rugby for a long time. And these games are the ones that get you excited. These are the games that make you get up in the morning and look forward to the day. So Stormers are a good team. They'll always be a good team. As I told you, I mean, I can go through the teams of the Western Province when they won 5 Currie Cups. I can go through the Western Province teams when they were dominating South African rugby. And I want that to be the game on the fixture. And well done to all the Cape Townians, and well done to all the Stormers supporters for buying tickets and selling out the stadium. It's wonderful to know that rugby is still so important in Cape Town, and also so important when the Bulls come down to Cape Town.
Definitely is going to be a great occasion, Jack. Just one more in terms of your locks. You've gone for Jeff and Kobus Wissa there, obviously with Rohan Nokia out, Rohan van Mark on the bench. You're confident you can handle that Stormers lineup? They've also had their issues at times and injuries as well.
Yeah, look, I must be confident. I'm talking about a SA under 20 lock that calls the line out. You're talking about a SA under 20 lock that's been coming through the ranks for a while now. And then Reinhard Ludwig, who's, his skill talks for himself. He played when he was a youngster. He played against Eben. He played against Mariatoji as a young 20-year-old. So yeah, I'm confident that they've served their time. They've learned their experiences. I'm not saying therefore they'll get everything right. But I mean, I'm confident that with what they've done and how they've done it and where they've been and the people that are around them, that they'll be fine. Pressure is an amazing thing for everybody. I mean, don't think that the pressure is only on the Bulls, Ashfaq. I mean, the pressure will be on the Stormers line-out, will be on the Stormers, Stormers combinations as well. There are a lot of combinations there that haven't played a lot together either. So it's going to be one of those great games, I think, and it depends on who plays the best and who takes their chances. As I always say to you, at the end of every one of these fixtures, there's going to be opportunities for both teams, and the one who takes them the best and manages the others will be the one that comes out on top.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Final three questions, Percival, Nathan, and Mvia. Thank you.
Goedemorgen, Jake. Weer eens jammer dat ik aan mij uiteindelijk altijd vragen moet herhalen. Jake, ik ga het bij kortelijks wees. Jake, je hebt waarschijnlijk die vraag reeds beantwoord in Engels. Is het een groot terugslag voor jou om 3 van jouw senior springbokken te verloren? En gaan het enigszins een impact hebben op de rest van jouw veldtocht, meneer? En hoe zie je uit naar die uitdaging teen die Stormers hierna?
Okay, so te kortliks. Is altyd 'n uitdaging as jy senior spelers verloor. Ek dink almal is in dieselfde boot. As ek nou lees, nie net Suid-Afrikaanse spanne nie, oorsee spanne ook, jy weet, internasionale spelers wat hulle verloor het, wat beseer is, jy weet, ek dink almal besef dat in die seisoen gaan jy nooit jou beste 23 spelers op die veld kan hê nie. En dit is 'n uitdaging, maar weer eens, ek sien uit na môre. En dit gaan 'n goeie game wees, groot game wees. I mean, die feit dat al die WP ondersteuners kaartjies gekoop het, ek sê vir hulle baie dankie. Ek dink is wonderlik dat die Noord-Transvaal of die Noord-Suid Noord-Transvaal of die, soos die ou dae in die WP of nou die Bulle en die Stormers, as dit die groot game van die jaar is en almal kom uit stadium toe is, dan weet ek ons doen ons werk as Unie. So baie dankie vir hulle. En persoonlik van 'n coaching oogpunt uit, jy weet, ek het lanklaas toets rugby afgerig. Ek sien uit na 52-53,000 mense in die paviljoene. En vir die spelers wil ek net hê hulle moet dit geniet, jy weet. Ek dink vir my as die Bulls coach, ek wil hê hoe groter die games is, hoe meer betrokke hulle is, hoe meer hulle in groot games speel, hoe beter vir ons Unie en beter vir ons as 'n klub.
Baie dankie, Jake.
Dankie.
How's it, Jake? Jake, it's been a minute. I've just got a couple of questions. Just touching on the flight delay, did this in a way disrupt the prep for tomorrow logistically?
Yeah, it's put us back, Nathan. I think tomorrow we might as well call the game off. I think, we're so upset. I don't think we'll recover, Nathan. I don't think we'll recover. I didn't even know it was delayed, Nathan. I mean, you guys are telling me something I don't know. You know, one thing about SAFE, and that's the sponsor of Springbok Rugby, is they're never late. They are the flight that always arrives on time. So, you know, they might left late, but they caught up the time and we got here at the same time. So I don't know why you guys are carrying on about us being delayed. And we're fine. Everything's fine. We've had a great lunch. We're in Cape Town. The sun's shining. We can see Tabletop Mountain. So things are nice.
That's good to hear, Jake. Jake, you spoke about Pep quite a lot. Is he one of those coaches you like to refer to, one of the world's best coaches?
Yeah, you know, Nathan, on a serious note, it's not just him. I've been watching him with interest because they've gone from being an incredible football side to, you know, to not being able to win games. And I think as a coach, you always try and find out what's missing. You know, people always talk about the secret formula and they use the word culture and they talk about, you know, different things that happen in the dynamics of a team, injuries, etc., etc. So it's not just Pep as in Pep, but it's any coach. And his situation this year has been one that I've been monitoring because of the fact that they've been such a strong team for the last 6-7 years. And you know, there was a game this year where it would have been the first time they wouldn't have made the playoffs of Europe, which was you know, sort of unheard of in his dynasty. So it's not, yeah, as I said, I read a lot about coaches. I read a lot of documents and you know, and media on different coaches, whether they American football coaches, whether they college coaches, you know, whether they basketball coaches, football coaches. And Pep has just been one guy this year that I've been intrigued with in terms of something is not working at Man City. And I was wondering if there's a correlation between what's happening in their club and what's happening at the Bulls, because obviously we didn't fire every time. We're getting so close to winning trophies, and somehow we're missing something. You know, now, you know, is it a player resource thing? Is it a coaching thing? Is it a staff thing? Is it the stimulus that you do either in the week or in game day? And you know, obviously I don't know the answers. I know you're going to ask me. I don't know the answers, but the more I read up on it, the more I try and compare notes with different coaches, the more I'm going to be able to understand where the Bulls are and where the Bulls need to be in the next couple of years.
The then finally, Jake, for me, just look at the matchups: Jan Hendrik, France, Dion, Marcel, Evan Cameron, Yuri, Villy, Zas, Moody, Warwick, Devon Williams. Exciting one on a player's point of view.
Well, I would think, Nathan, that's probably why the game sold out. You know, there's so much to talk about. You know, there's the new kid in town versus the older hand, and then there's, as you say, two Paul Boys High guys playing each other. I mean, Evan and Cameron were Paul Boys High. So, there's a lot of, I suppose they know each other very well. And I'm only using them as an example, but I said it again in the beginning of the press conference. I'm really thankful to Cape Town. I'm really thankful to the people of Cape Town. I'm thankful that they fill the stadium. We often talk about rugby in our country, how important it is. We talk about traditions and values, and we talk about the history of the game. And when I come here and I hear they've sold out their stadium, as I said, firstly, I'm very honored because it means we're doing our job right, but I'm also very thankful because it just shows you how important rugby is. And I'm going to say it again, I just hope our players, my players specifically, enjoy it and pay back the fact that they get an opportunity to play in front of a massive crowd, and hopefully it'll be the best game they've played this year.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Jake, just one question. A couple of questions. I saw your defense is exciting, very well, very good. You've conceded the fewest tries, and you're allowing the fewest offloads in your tackles as well. I mean, against a team like the Stormers, an attacking team, a dangerous team, and Warwick, for example, did you have to adjust anything? Is that part of your plan to sort of squeeze them and throttle them almost?
Well, Envy, without giving too much away, I mean, I don't think that, as you said, the beginning of the thing is that our defense for this year has got much tighter. Our points leaked are obviously much less. So I don't think we needed to change anything because that's been working for us consistently from the beginning of the year. And it is an area, when I started the campaign, I said to you, the one area that we probably have fallen short in the last couple of years is we've been the top point scoring team, but we've probably conceded too many points against opposition. So I'm obviously very, very happy with where we are defensively. Stormers do pose a different threat. I mean, a completely different threat. I think when they do play the style they do play, and when they have the resources that they have available, and everyone knows we've got Marnie and Damien and Sasha and Warwick, then I mean you are talking about a very, very different backline compared to one that you would play against week in and week out. And I have no doubt that even if the personnel changes, the way they coached and the way they train and the way that they go through their game stuff would be almost the same anyway. I'm not expecting that tomorrow they'll do anything different. It's been something that they've been coming along for a while now in terms of the way they want to play. At times they've been criticized for that, maybe being a bit too flashy, and we all know about that. But they haven't gone away from the fact that it works for them when it works. And we just got to, as I said, we just got to continue what we're doing. We continue being tough to score against, tough to get points against, and then attack like we usually attack. And that's all. And it's not just about this weekend, MV. It's about what happens next week, the following week. Because as I said, the building blocks of getting to the playoffs, having everyone fit and available, and playing your best rugby is only really evaluated in the last 3 weekends of the tournament.
I want to ask you something else about these rules changes. I'm not sure, the access rules and the likes, are those applicable in the USC as well? If they are, did it change any of your plans and the likes?
No, because we've always been a team that's stuck to the law, MV. We haven't had to break law. So
no, I mean the access to the wings. You're not allowed to block the runners when you do a box kick.
Yeah. No, but we're talking about Kane Moody's probably one of the best guys in the air in the world. So I'm glad that they've left people to catch the ball on their own. And yes, the laws are like that. I mean, it's the interesting thing. I don't want to get into a rugby debate with you, but people thought by allowing access to the jumper that people would kick less because they reckon that you would automatically give a turnover to the opposition. And the exact opposite has happened, that teams are actually kicking more now. So, it's been an interesting, not just for us, it's been interesting development to watch as the games unfolded when that law came out, MV. Because I think the lawmakers were hoping that if you kick the ball and you have to let the opposition guy access to the ball, it would almost be like a guaranteed turnover to the opposition, whereas it's actually allowed you to kick even more now. So, but You know, one thing that I have been lucky enough is that Kane and Kirtley, I know Kirtley is not here, but Kane and Kirtley are unbelievably good at that skill. And so much so they were picked in the national setup for the fact that they can, you know, and Willie at fullback has been used to doing that anyway. So out of our players on the field, I'm very comfortable with access for them to go up and catch the ball. That will be fine.
So it's just the last question. The other rules, like the skew line-out throws and the likes, are those applicable in the URC? I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. Every rule, I think every rule now is
all right. Okay,
everything that they brought is now on trial. I think the only one, I'm just going to make sure, the only one who isn't on trial or isn't in the URC is the bunker red card. I think every other one is in place. In other words, blocking the 9, skew line outs, not contesting, etc. All those are in place for the URC.
Awesome. Thanks, Jake. Good luck tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thanks, guys.